I feel
It's not on there anyway.
I feel though.
I don't. District Assembly video. No, the mic's off.
When we were first approached to become corporate members, we absolutely jumped at the chance.
When I heard about corporate membership, it was just a no-brainer. We joined straight away.
We got involved in being corporate members in the Rotary Club to be part of the community.
To say we actually think the same way as all of these people throughout the world, isn't that marvellous?
I wouldn't hesitate in recommending becoming a corporate member of Rotary. My name is Mark Brassel. I'm the CEO of the Anna Garden in Northumberland. The Anna Garden has benefited greatly from being a corporate member of Rotary. It's a fantastic organisation. It brings like-minded people together, very importantly with the same values, you know, the decency, putting the community first, serving, and that's very much what the garden's about too.
Having the restaurant in Alnwick, we've got regular customers coming in who's part of the Rotary Club, and that's how we got to know about Rotary. So we became a corporate member. We want to be involved.
I think I'll hide this and just join, not to tell it.
Charity, do it.
Can we just sit with it? One at a time.
Corporate membership is about making Rotary relevant to the world of business. I'm talking about any business or company or organisation. They gain very significantly from being part of Rotary International. It's definitely a win-win situation.
Corporate membership was quite important to us. It's a good chance to network with other local businesses, build relationships.
Rotary is embedded in what we do in terms of what it means to us to be a corporate member. It's everything for us. We're a community school. We're embedded in a huge community. We know the work of Rotary as a humanitarian organisation is huge. It's certainly given our students opportunities to get involved in events that, for some of them, have led to future employment.
Alnwick has had a thriving Rotary presence since 1938. The club has 53 members and 12, almost 13 corporate members.
We're really privileged to have hosted the Rotary Club of Alnwick here in this hotel for over 40 years. When I heard about corporate membership, it was just a no-brainer. We jumped into the opportunity straight away.
Rotary does so much good throughout the community, and we want to be part of that.
All the Rotarians that I've met are caring people, and we need more of that. And for us to be corporate members, that's the magic, I think.
As Rotary, we often ask ourselves, how do we grow? Personally, professionally, and organizationally? The answer is simple. To grow Rotary, we need more Rotary clubs. Let's use Anytown as an example. Anytown is a city of 100,000 people and home to one proud Rotary club. But there are hundreds of other people of action, just like us, who are uniquely qualified to become Rotary members. They share the same drive and represent the values and fundamentals of a Rotary member. So why aren't they members? Well, the current club meets on Monday. There are leaders in Anytown who can't meet on a Monday. By excluding this segment, the potential members in Anytown has shrunk. Now consider, what if the meeting is at noon on Monday? There are people who can meet on Monday, but can't meet at noon. So now we have a smaller audience for Rotary in Anytown. Of the remaining group, some aren't interested in a club with a sit-down lunch and speakers. They are passionate about service, but aren't interested in a traditional club experience. And that is okay. The Rotary Club of Anytown isn't doing anything wrong. It just doesn't appeal to particular segments of the community. And if we're going to thrive for years to come, we must adapt and embrace change. In Anytown, we have an opportunity to expand because potential members are everywhere. More than half of the eligible people are prospective Rotary members, waiting to make a bigger impact in their community. But what Rotary Club exists for them? If Anytown creates new clubs at new times and new places, the hidden potential for Rotary will be revealed. As people of action, we must broaden our reach and provide opportunities to all leaders in the community. Together, all of us can grow Rotary.
Joining as a direct member is a really flexible way of doing Rotary. It's, as we say, Rotary without borders. You can make it fit into your life how you want it to. You can...
I've been a direct member of Rotary for nearly a year now. I found it was the quickest and easiest way to join.
Direct membership gives us the opportunity to duck in and out as we want to. I think it's the flexibility of what direct membership offers, but still with the concept of doing social good.
That's exactly got my name on it. That's for me. Direct membership is a flexible and creative way to volunteer in Rotary across times, across projects and across geography. I travel abroad a lot, so it still enables me to give and volunteer, but in a more flexible way when I am in the UK or even when I am abroad.
Why I joined Rotary and why I joined as a direct member is being a working mum of a 2.5-year-old. It's a challenge to fit your passions and volunteer work into your daily life. Direct membership specifically to me is a flexible, all-inclusive way of engaging with Rotary.
We're direct members with Rotary. We came up with this idea to run this session just to show how being outdoors for 20 to 30 minutes can really help improve your mental well-being.
We found something! Without direct membership, I wouldn't have joined Rotary. I'm running my own business. I want to be connected to people, but I don't want to have to commit myself to things I can't possibly make.
Direct membership is where you can join Rotary, not to join a club, but it enables you to become a Rotarian and explore where the best fit is for you.
I filled in my forms and the next thing I knew, I was a direct member of the Rotary and I felt proud. The first time in my life, I feel like I've been accepted and I'm a member of something that's actually doing good throughout the world.
A direct member can actually plug into several clubs or into each other from different parts of the world.
There's no rules or limits. If you can imagine it, you can do it.
Is it? Have a look at it. Just unmuted first, so I haven't got any sound.
Yeah, to everybody now.
Sound here. No, you've got some switched off.
All right, all right. Okay. Alan, thank you. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kevin Walsh. I'm your Leadership and Development Officer. Just a few bits of housekeeping to begin with, if we could, please. If you are home alone, and we have had situations across the country in recent times when we've been doing these sorts of events, when people have been taken ill on these sorts of events. So if you feel it's appropriate, in the chat, if you could add your telephone number, and if it looks as though you need some help, we can try and contact somebody to help you out. So a contact name and a telephone number for somebody if you are home alone. Please leave your phones on silent, and please mute unless you're asked to speak. In the breakout sessions that we're going to have shortly, it would be useful to have your name and your club in the details. So if you don't know how to do that, do ask the facilitator when you get to that point. But if you can change your name to include your name and your club, that would be really good. You've probably spotted that we've recorded the event, just in case people want to see it afterwards, or we can share it with people. So again, if you don't want your face showing later on, you can take your video off, but we do hope that everybody will be happy to share. And please use the chat facility. It's there for you to ask questions, to make comments, and we will keep an eye on that. And if there's anything that we can't answer, and we've already got one question, will we be sending the slides via email after the event? We can do that, yes. Okay. I'm going to hand over to your district governor for next year, John Edwards. Over to you, John.
Thank you, Kevin. A warm welcome to you all. As Kevin has said, I actually have the great honour and privilege of being your district governor for the coming 12 months. And the purpose of this morning is to set the scene and give you an idea of where we're coming from, and more importantly, where we're going and how we're going to get there. So I'm looking forward to the morning. The breakout session should be interesting, and away we go with perhaps the first slide is really about growth, but the context to that is the state of the district currently. We started off the year 1st of July with 1,147 members. We're currently at 1,142. We've had a closure back in December in Millom. 3 clubs are going to close in June, Ambleside, Blackburn and Lancaster. So there's 35 members there, and hopefully we can hold on to many of them by transfers to other clubs or indeed to the direct membership. You've all have heard of North Star, I'm sure. I see it either as a threat or an opportunity, but really it's an opportunity, because without North Star we would almost certainly be in receipt of a letter from Rotary International in Evanston talking about merging with another district. However, North Star does give us the opportunity to create a future for our district. And as I say, it's one I feel immensely privileged leading from the 1st of July. So collectively, our challenge is to secure that future. And I see today as one of our building blocks, as we set a pathway to growth, to firstly stabilising our membership numbers, and secondly, setting a target for growth. I have in mind a simple strapline of 1190 in 1190 by June 2026. So in other words, if we can get to 1,190 members, that would fit very well with our district number of 1190. I acknowledge it's a stretching target, but one which I believe is achievable. So in doing so, we will be reversing the downward trend of recent years. That alone would represent a considerable achievement. The good news is that we have the tools at our disposal with direct membership and corporate membership, adding to growth in individual membership. In the background is, of course, enterprise membership, but that's, as I'm sure you are aware, is aimed at businesses employing more than 100 people, and that's being administered directly by Ulster. The recurring theme of today will be to highlight the how, the benefits to those clubs willing to change, and indeed those clubs who may be willing but unable to change. How the district team stands ready to engage and assist, and perhaps most importantly, how the district exists to support the clubs and Rotarians. All this with a limited resource, so plenty to discuss later in the breakout session. Membership growth is the key message both from Rotary International and Rotary Great Britain and Ireland. Mario Cesar Martin de Camargo is the incoming RI president. And at Orlando, where I was honoured to go as part of the International Assembly back in February, he outlined 3 essential pillars for growth: innovation, continuity, and partnership. RGB and I's incoming chair, Heather Stewart, is of a similar mind. And having had the pleasure of meeting both Mario and Heather, I firmly believe that Rotary is in good hands. At district level, I'm fortunate enough to have an excellent team around me, and together we look forward to working with you, the club members, as we set a path to growth whereby we focus on 4 priorities. And there they are. We increase our impact, we expand our reach, enhance participant engagement, and increase our ability to adapt. There's much more behind the scenes on that, but the key elements you can see on screen now. I've referred already to achieving 1,190 members by the end of June 2026, diversifying our membership, increasing club engagement with the district teams, and encouraging colleagues in clubs to think differently. So those are some of the priorities. If we can deal with those step by step, we're on the pathway to growth. And arising out of that, of course, is the objective of increasing our level of giving to the Rotary Foundation and to continue to develop humanities, by which I mean youth, community and vocation, and other elements which are so important, which Mary Bradley will touch on later. So I hope very much that you will enjoy the assembly and find something to take away with you. So I'm grateful that you've given up your time today, and especially to Kevin for preparing the agenda, for all the preparatory work he's undertaken behind the scenes. He and Malcolm particularly certainly keep me on my toes. So I hope you enjoy the morning. Do feel free to ask questions, pose questions. If we don't know the answer, we'll find out and come back to you. Which brings me neatly on to question time. So you're probably absorbing quite a lot already because you've seen 5 excellent videos which embrace everything we do in Rotary, both locally and internationally. So I'll open the floor up. We've got a few minutes for questions before we go on to the input from the various team leaders. And anybody like to start off the question element? And don't forget to unmute.
Yeah, hang on. There you go. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, my name's Anne Stewart. I'm I'm president now actually because the other president has resigned, but I'm the incoming for 25-26. I just want to know what the Rotary theme is for 25-26.
Great question. It was going to come up later, but I can tell you it is quite simply Unite for Good.
Ah, right. Oh, that's a good one.
And I see one of our strap lines, and I referred to it a moment or two ago, where district serves to unite the clubs and Rotarians. And by so doing, and actually we at district serve the clubs. And by putting all that together, we unite for good. And actually, I can show you, and this is the top I got in Orlando, which is in Brazilian colours because Mario, our incoming president, is Brazilian. And at the International Assembly in Orlando, we had a theme night. It was resilient. The noise, by Jove, they can party, can they conga? But Mario is a superb leader. He's a great speaker. And as I said earlier, I think we're in really good hands with our leadership. So thank you for that question. And yeah, we unite for good.
I have one other question, if I may, please. Is it possible to have this slide you're doing without everybody talking, like myself, for instance?
I think Kevin has said that yes.
Yeah, we can do that.
Available.
Yeah. Okay, because he did say it was being recorded, but I don't particularly want all the questions and things, just the slides.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you.
Thank you. It's a good question. I hope you find the slides useful. I think they've been carefully put together, not too much, but there's enough information in there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else with a question for John at this stage? Do put your hand up, or if you don't want to ask it directly, you can always put it in the chat and we'll pick it up from there.
I think there's two in the chat there. Let's have a look.
Yeah, they're all right.
Okay.
They've sorted that.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Yeah, the chat facility is quite good for those who aren't comfortable with it. Just go down to the bottom of your screen and highlight that and put a question in, which we'll pick up. Well, if there are no more questions at this stage, we're only a little bit ahead of ourselves, but that does give us...
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead, Carol.
Hi,
Yeah.
Carol from Preston South. Just everything that's happened in the news lately, what is Rotary's policy on transgender?
A short answer is I don't know, and it's a valuable...
Do we need to think about it?
Yeah. I'm sure a policy is being formulated because there, as you say, there's so much going on. And yeah, I'm sure we will come up with a practical answer because it's all part of our mission for diversity, equality and inclusion, isn't it? So that's something, yeah, we do take seriously. Yeah, so let me make a note of that. Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you.
I noticed John's posed a question, which you might want to consider yourselves over the time, but John will be talking a little bit later about foundation, and do make sure you consider that going forward. Anything else? I think we'll probably move on to the presentations from the district team. And then we can always come back for questions at the end of that before the breakout, if that works time-wise. So if you bear with me for a minute, I'll just re-share the screen. And apologies for the blocks that came on earlier. That was my fault. Over to you, John.
Thank you. Thanks, Kevin. I'm doubling up because Pam Holgate, who's the new membership lead, is engaged elsewhere this morning, and that'll be followed by the new club formation. That's David Simpson, who's taken over that role. David is still on holiday. But in terms of Pam, I was delighted when she accepted my invitation to assume the membership lead. And you probably have gathered already, the theme we're trying to get across is that we are joined up across the district, and really every one of us is a membership ambassador, and that's really threaded through all we do. The videos you probably saw at the outset have touched on everything that we do. Some really good ones in there, the corporate one particularly. And it's about, we all have a Rotary story to tell, and it's thinking about how we can publicise that to the wider audience, and particularly how we can encourage you in the clubs to publicise your upcoming events and projects, because that is an important element, particularly of direct membership. It's so vital that we have got projects and events to share, and that's where direct members particularly can pick that up and get involved. And there's new members packs. There's a lot of resource out there. There's plenty of toolkits, and I know Pam, over the coming weeks, we'll be putting all that together, and then we can roll this out from the 1st of July. So plenty of opportunity. I referred to that earlier about the offer that we have, because until fairly recently, in the last 12 months, there was just individual membership. Corporate's always been there in the background, but it's not really been publicised. But it's a super idea, and the way it's taken off is most encouraging. But in addition to that, Direct is a powerful new tool that we have at disposal. We saw the video earlier where the person who works from home with a young child is able to do that. And it really is about, and I think Ken McClellan, who is the lead for membership nationally, his question is simply that you want to do Rotary, how do you want to do it? And it's about thinking of the different ways of doing Rotary, where I can think of a very traditional club. It's celebrated a major landmark only recently, where it's moving with the times and has already set up an impact club. So there's lots of ways of doing Rotary. People are now inviting people to meet on a Saturday morning and having coffee. And that fits with the Anytime video, where it's about exploring how people want to do Rotary and trying to meet their needs whilst still building on the traditional club. That's so vital. It's so important, where we retain the interest of those who have served Rotary for so many years. We value them. They've got so much knowledge, so much experience. So we need to harness that, while at the same time moving forward with some of the different elements of what Rotary has got to offer. So in short, Pam is doing a great job behind the scenes, and she's pulling various plans together, and they will roll out in the early part of July. I'm happy to take any questions as we go along, and if you can spot any, Kevin or Malcolm, I'll happily take them.
You want to move on to the next?
I will do then, thank you.
Kevin, there's a question in the chat about impact clubs.
Okay, do you want to say who it is and what it is?
Hi, yes, it's Maureen, Dennis, and Stuart. What is an impact club? Sorry, just pick that up on from what you were saying, John.
Yeah, okay. It can be described as different ways. It could be a satellite club where people are coming together in a less formal way. And I know there's a club in East Lancashire who are just on the cusp of setting one up, where I think from memory, and Malcolm might correct me, is that they have got together on an informal basis. They work for a local company, I believe, and they can see value in a group of them getting together, meeting on a regular, informal basis, but still wanting to do Rotary. So it's really what I was trying to describe earlier. It's the flexibility of how we can roll out Rotary to meet the different needs of different people at different times. Does that make sense?
And yes, in terms of an impact club and a more informal club, then what happens in terms of subs, for instance?
They will still pay into Rotary.
Right.
If they become a Rotarian, they will pay.
Okay, and also, do they have a secretary and a president and that, or are they very informal?
Well, that's a great question, because I know from personal experience that has been a stumbling block of a club I do know, where they set out and I said, look, we need to formalise this as a satellite club. So when the idea came up of, oh, you need a president, secretary and treasurer, the level of enthusiasm reduced somewhat. So I had to take a decision with the club to say, look, do we play it straight down the line and insist they do the formalities, or do we keep their enthusiasm and find another way of doing it? In short, we kept their enthusiasm. We made an affiliate of a particular club, and it's growing. And through that medium, we've created 4 full Rotarians in the club I can think of. So it's about flexibility and trying to do Rotary in whichever way we can. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So you could still have the president, secretary, etc., and then you have almost like a satellite impact club where they use the existing president, secretary, and then they just get on with their enthusiasm, as you've said, but use the actual traditional bit of Rotary with the main group, but they don't necessarily attend all the other bits and pieces that are on offer from the traditional club.
Yeah, it can be flexed. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Again, coming back
Thank
to
you.
Ken McClellan, the head of membership nationally, you want to do Rotary, how do you want to do it? And personally, I take the view that if people are operating legitimately in an honest and legal way within the Rotary wheel, they value our values and behaviours, observe the four-way test, they're going to be great Rotarians if they want to do stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Right. So I'm David Simpson for a moment. I don't have his sort of height or gait, but David comes with a wealth of experience. He's known to most of you in the district. He readily accepted my invitation to move across from membership lead to new club formation. This is a really important segment of what we're trying to do. They can't be created overnight. They take some work, but David, with his knowledge and connections, is already getting to grips with it. A lot of data analysis to be undertaken, but you can see from the slide that we're having conversations already, and we can see potential, we say, for exploration. Doesn't mean say we're going to put a club in there, but we've tried to embrace the whole of our large district. So from Carlisle in the north down to Buckshaw Village near Chorley, and of course, the hub is the most important part of growth in membership. We're losing Ambleside and Kirkstone at the end of June, but there's still opportunities around the Central Lakes. Barrow is another area where there's so much expansion going on. People like British Aerospace, I gather they're growing the workforce there exponentially. So there must be opportunities there. It will hopefully galvanise and cement the existing clubs there in Barrow, in Furness, and hopefully grow a new one. There'll be so many new people moving into the area that there must be opportunities there. In my own area down in the southwest in Lytham, Blackpool and Files, we lost Blackpool last year. Blackpool, a club with 101 years of tradition. Back in 1979, way before my time, they had 140 members, but it just declined over the years. And lovely, lovely people. They did Rotary in a fairly modest way, but it was a great example where if they'd looked to the future and planned out for succession and continuity, one of the themes we picked up from Mario, continuity is so important, and that's another part of the building blocks I referred to earlier. So there are some superb opportunities. It will take time and resource to do it, but I'm so pleased that David is going to head that up, because would you believe the last new club to be formed was way back in February 2009. That was Furness Peninsula. So, you know, it's time we set up one or two new clubs. And if we could do that with a minimum of, say, 15 people in each club, we're 30 members towards our target. So it's about blending individual rooms, new clubs, corporate, direct. And so with those opportunities, as I alluded to in my opening remarks, I see the way forward. We can do it. And so I hope that sort of slide builds in your mind where we're coming from and where we're trying to grow Rotary. Happy to take any questions. Right, you're asking.
John, there are some questions in the chat. There's somebody asking, Roger Mason is asking, is it the same as a companion club? That's in reference to the Impact Club.
I think it is, Roger. I can't be absolutely certain, but I think it is. It's one of these things. It's a rose by any other name. Impact Club, continuity, companion. It's just the different ways of doing Rotary. Roger, I hope that answers your question.
And there's also a question about from Ian Petty about how about their constitution? Can they use the mother clubs?
Right, yeah, another good question. Kevin, can I perhaps defer to you for that answer? I don't know it off the top of my head.
Yeah, so this is if somebody's bringing in an impact club, a satellite club, whatever you want to call it, an alternative way of doing Rotary within your club, usually you need to change one or two paragraphs within the constitution just to make sure that you're covering yourself. We can go into the level of detail of this at the at some events we're going to run in July. We'll come back to those later, but yes, if you look at the satellite club requirement within the way the Rotary Constitution is set up, there is an opportunity for you to actually just formally agree that you're going to allow this extra strand of Rotary to be set up formally.
Thank you, Kevin. Ian, does that answer your question? Again, perhaps on mute.
Yes, thanks. That's helpful. We'll look forward to later detail.
Yeah, thank you. And in turn, I look forward to visiting Clitheroe after the 1st of July, if I'm invited.
No, you will be for sure.
Splendid. Look forward to that. Thank you for your question. I think that probably covers everything on new club formation, and I'm happy now to lead on and introduce Wendy Aldred, who again has accepted my invitation to take over public image. I'm having to be very careful and trying to clone Wendy because she's already has been doing and continues to do a superb job as direct hub coordinator, direct membership coordinator. So I've got to wrap Wendy in cotton wool, but before I do that, Wendy, would you like to take over and talk about public image, please?
Thanks very much, John. And there is a final question on the chat, which I take as being public image, so I will come back to that at the end of my sort of few minutes, just looking at public image and what we're doing. So the first thing we need to think about is that our public image is really important when we're thinking about membership, because unless we tell people what we do and some of the really good projects that we do, then they're not actually going to know. So public image is a key one. And of course, we need to be realistic about what we do in that way as well. So with the team, we'll be developing a toolkit, doing some signposting, looking at good practice that's already around. There's lots of resources already available from Rotary GBI and Rotary International. So we're putting those together and developing a very simple checklist so that if you're arranging an event, you can just very quickly go through that list and think about what public image you need to be looking at. We will continue to promote the template website system at district and club level as well, and also obviously promoting social media. So there will be ad hoc online support sessions, so you or your club or a group of clubs can actually request some of those, and we will help you with those and answering questions and taking things forward. And the district team themselves will also be looking at what they can do so that we actually streamline some of our public image as well in district. Anyone who's been looking at the district website this year will know that each month we've been picking a different theme, and I've been gathering information from clubs, and I know there's some great stories out there that clubs are already doing some good projects. This year I'm cutting it down to probably 6 themes, and 3 of those themes will link through into what Mary's going to be talking about in a moment from humanities. And so we'll be linking things like health and well-being into October, which will World Polio Day, New Generations, Rotary Day in February, and Rebuilding Communities, the environment in June. So there I'll be contacting clubs and encouraging clubs to actually do publicity at that time as well. The Rotary brand, the brand that we're using has actually been in place over 10 years. So where clubs need some support with that, then we're more than happy to actually help you to ensure that you're actually following and using some of the great tools that Rotary International has produced to enable you to follow the Rotary brand. Something that Pam talked about in membership was thinking about Rotary moments, your elevator speech if you're trying to actually encourage someone to join Rotary, and following those great stories. and looking at storytelling, looking at the impact that your projects actually have on the communities that you're actually undertaking them for. And then finally, we all read, I'm sure, that copies of Norwest, which we now publish online, some great stories in there, and we'll continue to actually promote that in district as well. So for me, public image is really, really important to actually help with membership growth. And the final question, will you be advertising events from Rotary clubs going on throughout 2025? Now, I'm presuming that this is how finding out what other Rotary clubs are doing. And therefore, there's two things. One is that at the moment, if you're using the template system, you can put your own club events on there and then link it through to the district site so that actually your event appears on the home page. And if you can just do that as one-off events and not ongoing projects, which ends up cluttering up that. So you can actually share that information with people, and there's other ways of finding out once you've got that information on the template. The other thing that we've got, because of direct membership, Rotary GBI via the Rotary GBI website actually has forums. And these forums were aimed initially at direct members, but in fact, any Rotarian can actually get access to them. And we're wanting clubs to actually put their projects on there to promote them so that direct members and other Rotarians in district or outside could actually come along and get involved in them as well. And Rotary GBI themselves, just a little advance notice, are bringing out something called the Impact Portal, which will be similar, which will enable us to actually promote other Rotary events as well. So hopefully that answers that question as well. As far as will we get a public image toolkit sent to each club? Yes, things will be emailed out to clubs. There's one about a Facebook account being suspended. Can we leave that one until the end? There's a couple there that I just want to think through the answers, John, if you're happy for me to come back to that later.
Yeah, please do, thank you. Because does that pick up Shahid's question? He's made a comment that he'll be in touch regarding an H3 event taking place in Hyndburn, Church and Aussie.
Yes, please. Yeah, please do contact me, and I'll actually help you put that information out.
Yeah, thank you, Wendy. Because as I say, I've got to put Wendy in cotton wool because she's doing a fabulous job. I don't want to embarrass her greatly, but the work she's put in on the district website, she's transformed it. But I heed her cry. It's a continual cry for tell her about projects that are going on. So in the direct side, she can spread the word. And to add to Norwest, you know, don't forget, you can always keep sending photographs and articles to Rotary Magazine. And our district is quite good at getting things published in there. And it's about contacts, it's about stories. And just briefly to close this section, when I was in Orlando in February at the International Assembly, I met the district governor-elect from Ukraine, a charming person, and over coffee, I did remember Upper Eden and the work they had done in collecting and sending out to Kyiv surplus medical equipment. And it's a good job I remembered that, because she straight away said, "Oh, Roger Franks." And I thought, yeah, Roger's Upper Eden. And she was so grateful. She was a medic herself. She's a professor in gynecology and oncology. I did talk to her about those, but we had a really good conversation. So much so, you know, we've established a link and we're in regular contact. But the point of it is that I got back, and having overcome the jet lag, I got Roger's email address, sent him a note, and he said, "Well, that's so pleasing to hear." And he just said, "Rotary's tentacles." And that's about Rotary, isn't it? And it's all the stuff we do. It all links together. I think there was a comment on one of the videos, you know, we can only do drops. These drops come together. There's a huge flood that we can sort of do good throughout the world. So I hope you can see a theme emerging where the district team does want to support what you in the clubs are doing. We want to learn. You know, It was when I was an assistant governor, I used to say to people, look, I'm a conduit. I want to feed not down, I want to hear what's coming from you. So think about the conduit, think about this genuine wish of the district team to work closely with you. So thank you.
John, can I just, because I just got two questions here that have come in. One's from Maureen Dennis, I think about general IT awareness on Rotary things for members. So Maureen, if you want to contact me and we can have a chat about that and about what you're thinking of. The other one is from...
Thank you, Wendy.
Okay. And the other one's from Linda Lamson in Carnforth about Facebook accounts being suspended. Now, I'm not sure if it's a specific issue, but I do know internationally there have been problems with Facebook accounts being suspended. And it's not actually the content, it's the use of the Rotary Roundel, believe it or not. Some of the bots are picking up this, and it's something that Rotary International is aware of and has had a meeting with Meta, the owners of Facebook. And if anybody ends up with problems around Facebook accounts being suspended, if they want to get in touch, and I can point you in the right direction of trying to get your page back. So Linda, if you want to get in touch, and we can talk through things in a little bit more detail.
Yeah, thanks, Wendy. I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Wendy. That's most helpful. I think that probably wraps up the public image for now. I don't think there are any more questions. So again, thank you, Wendy, for all you've done and are doing. It is much appreciated. To humanities, I touched on humanities in my opening remarks. It's just so vast, but we have an expert in that field, and I'm delighted to introduce Mary Bradley, former district governor. And Mary, do you want to take it away?
Oh, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. The word humanities, I think, is quite a challenge. So I prefer to call it action and fun in Rotary, because this is the side of Rotary which everybody sees. It's what attracts people to Rotary, and it was what keeps us going day in, day out when things get a bit grim. We always have a good project round the corner or a good bit of service to do. We get together, have some fun and deliver something really worthwhile, which then hopefully we can promote, and hopefully that attracts more members. I think one of the things that has changed over the last few years is that clubs probably don't have the same committee structure they used to, and tend to rally round a particular project or piece of service they want to do. So the feeling is now we'll probably work in the themes, which will make it easier to put on, to promote the public image, and to actually get together as an entire club. So health and well-being, so many examples of that we do, everything from cycling, walking, to doing dementia cafes, and a million other things. The new generations is about youth service, and if you can see the joy from the technology tournaments, I've got a pile of art to go through today on my table here. There's lots of stuff we're doing, but also new generations is about the future. So that's where environment lives, and I know so many clubs are doing environmental projects. We actually have an active group of 33 clubs in this district who belong to our environment group. Rebuilding lives with resilience. So many clubs get involved with this, doing befriending, food pantries, and so many other things. And it's such an important part, particularly as we've been through the cost of living crisis. And we have so many young people with mental health issues, so many older people lonely and so on. So we have a huge role to play there. So importantly, we need to understand how our Rotary projects in our area make a difference, but also in our international community. And a really good example of fun at the moment is to have tea in a tent, like I think it's Rosendale are doing. Have tea in a tent and raise some money for a shelter box to actually help restock the warehouses that they've had to use recently, all the content from them. We work in partnership increasingly with people, and we also need to know how to access funds to support our work. So many clubs now are actually getting grants and many other ways of attracting money. We don't have to go out and rattle a tin. And if anybody would like any information on fundraising grants, just come to me. And we need to continue to engage, because only by engaging, only by getting out there, showing what we do, publicising what we do, will make Rotary attractive for people to join. And it will not only attract new members, it will keep the ones we've got, which is really important. And I cannot believe there is anybody in any Rotary club who can't get involved in some sort of project or service. Even our most frail people can do things. We just need to be a little bit more imaginative. And when we get new people, listen to what they want to do so that we can have some new exciting projects about. So welcome to the division in district, which is about action and fun. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mary. Absolutely superb. And you've put everything into the 3 minutes, and it just shows what's going on. And thank you ever so much. I'll invite questions of Mary. If anybody has a question for Mary, please ask.
You see, John, everybody knows about action and fun, so everybody's doing it, and clubs and all the clubs are doing so well at being imaginative and doing really good things in their communities. Well done, everybody.
Yeah, well, it's great, Mary, because we've not colluded or had a word beforehand, but words like action, words like fun, they're coming up. So it's absolutely right. And you made the really good point, and I think I referred to it earlier, about we need to keep the wisdom and experience on board. It's so important. And I think you're so right. Nobody really wants to stand out in the cold and freezing rain rattling a box, or not allowed to rattle boxes, but there's so many different ways of doing Rotary. So Mary, you've embraced so much in a short time, and you're our contact point. So thank you ever so much. So
it's Ron from Furness. Just a question for Mary. It's something our club has looked at, befriending lonely people, and we think that is something that Rotary could really do well. The negative about it that we're finding is that some people are a bit skeptical that it's people trying to get into lonely old people's houses. I don't know whether you've come across that, but how do you answer that one?
Yeah, I think this is a really good point. You can do befriending in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be just by visiting, but it can be through telephone calls and various other ways. This is something there's a really good discussion, and I did actually write a paper on this for District about 4 years ago. I'll get it out and dust it and address some of those issues, and maybe at some time pop down to your club and have a chat.
That'll be great, Mary. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Ron, because it does lead on to something else. Yes, security is so important, but I know of a club which has got in mind music for dementia, and that's taking it into care homes, where it's been proven that music does make a difference to the lives of people with dementia. Because with dementia, it's almost, I mean, I've experienced it in our family, where I can best describe it as a series of light bulbs, say 6 light bulbs, 2 or 3 have gone out, one's flashing a little bit, but a couple are really still bright, and they do revert back to things in the past, and music is a great way of doing it. So that's just another example of projects in the pipeline. And I think, Ron, it probably links up with the fact not just in the home, but going to care homes. They're always grateful for new ways of doing things. And Rotary is such a powerful brand. If somebody comes from Rotary, I think it does open doors. So thank you for your question, Ron. I hope that answers it. And thank you, Mary, very much for your presentation. So we've covered humanities, and we lead on now to foundation. We had a good lead in with the video earlier. So John is our Rotary Foundation chair. He's agreed to carry on for another year, for which I'm particularly grateful, with building on his, drawing on his knowledge and experience, which is huge. So John, thank you. Would you like to take it forward on foundation and talk about your slide, please.
Good morning.
Ah,
The wonders of technology.
Yeah.
Rotary Foundation, it's our foundation. It's our charity. A not-for-profit organisation that helps Rotary members like you to advance world understanding, goodwill and peace by improving health, improving quality education, improving the environment and alleviating poverty. On average, year on year, the foundation spends around $400 million supporting over 2,000 projects that result in positive, lasting change and is considered to be one of the top charities in the world. Why? Because it's recognised as one of the most effective and well-managed charity organisations in the world, and most importantly, it supports the remarkable work of our Rotary clubs. It's your generosity that makes this possible. You decide where your donation is going to go, what area of focus you'd like it spent on. Another unique feature of the foundation is that, as far as I'm aware, the Rotary Foundation is the only charity in the world that gives you your money back. Every 3 years, this comes back to the district in the form of grant funds, which can be re-spent on more projects. So you get two bites of the cherry, so to speak. And as you know very well, it's projects that attract people, like new members. Now, nearly 40 years ago, we made a promise to the children of the world to eradicate polio, and we're almost there. That final mile is often the hardest. And here's a thought for you. If you give £1 to Rotary Foundation, to polio, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation matches it 2 to 1 and makes it £3. And £3 buys 15 of the new polio vaccines. That's 15 children who will never get polio, 15 children who will never suffer a lifelong disability, 15 families who will never have to support a disabled child, all because you gave £1. The latest polio figures I have is that there are 10 cases so far this year, 8 in Pakistan and 2 in Afghanistan. Now, over the coming year, the District Foundation team will endeavour to raise awareness at many events, including speaking at your clubs, and all you need to do is to contact a member of the team. We plan to update the popular District Foundation booklet, a copy of which goes to all new members. And we will deliver the annual Foundation seminar in early February 2026, in which we outline the grants process and update you on how your money is spent. This seminar is deliberately timed to assist you to prepare your grant applications, which open immediately after the seminar. We will also hope to run the popular Foundation Appreciation Lunches in May 2026, so watch out for details of that. I would appeal to you to please support the Foundation and End Polio Now campaigns, because your generosity really changes lives. And I'll leave you with this thought, a quote from Michelle Obama, who said, "We've got the responsibility to live up to the legacy of those who came before us, and by doing all that we can to help those who come after us." Thank you.
Thank you, John. An excellent quotation, and I endorse all that you've said. I've said to John previously, he's aware of this, that I have to hold up my hands, that I'm a fairly newcomer to the benefits of Foundation, and that came through one of John's Foundation lunches, where I heard more about sustaining membership. Became a sustaining member there and then. It's just, to me, it's a no-brainer, and if we can encourage more of our members to become sustaining members, that'll be another great step forward as we move forward on our pathway. Just before we move on, Ron Salmon from Cockermouth, thank you for your comment about helping lonely people could be done through existing charities such as Linking Lives. Good point. Thank you, Ron. I've noted that. Shahad, to everyone, is there a timetable when the Rotary clubs are open to the general public, and how is this advertised to the general community? I'd like to visit other clubs. Well, I think the trick here, Shahid, is that websites kept up to date have all the information, and yeah, you know, visit other Rotary clubs by all means, phone them up and tell them you're coming. And I really encourage people to visit other clubs. So yeah, good question, good point. Maureen Dennis has asked, which club am I a member of? sorry, I should have stated very clearly, Lytham. I did allude to say I'm in the southwest outpost of the district. So yeah, Lytham in Lancashire on the Ribble estuary on the coast. So thanks for that, Maureen. I'm glad to put that right. Are there any other questions, particularly of John, before we move on to Malcolm and the Secretariat? Okay, if not, Kevin, would you please put up the next slide? And there it is. Malcolm, our District Secretary, is just going to run through the sorts of things which I like it. Malcolm?
Hi, yeah, I'm not sure I've got problems with my connection. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to go into anything in great detail, but what you can see is what we're trying to we'll put out a calendar available district websites. The one thing I do want to bring your attention to, which isn't on here, is the compliance. We all know that this form to be signed every year, and they should be back by the district secretary by the 1st of July. Unfortunately, last year we had a number of clubs that didn't return them. At one point, it was said that it will affect, it will void your insurance, but that's not the case. But it could your sign these. I'll be sending the forms out this week, so if you can make sure that they are signed within your club and returned to me, I'll be most grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Malcolm. You did break up a little bit part way through, but I think some of the key messages are that you are certainly the point of contact and an excellent signposter. So, you know, I turn to Malcolm so often. He's got so much knowledge and experience, which I don't have. So I'm most grateful to him. An interesting one at the bottom of there, you've probably spotted a question at this point. We're talking about putting the calendar out. We're pulling all that together at the moment. Having some thoughts about district council. Should it be in November and one in April? In other words, drop it from 3 to 2. Both are face-to-face with the option of some training add-ons. So it's just a thought at this stage. It has to be properly agreed, and it has to be agreed by the board at Ulster. So it's not a done deal by any means. We're just sort of, you know, testing the water to get reactions to that. So there'll be more of that anon, but you might just like to think about it. And if you have any comments or questions, perhaps bring them up in the breakout session or in the questions at the close.
John, that'll be raised at district council also on Wednesday.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Thank you, Malcolm. Thanks ever so much for all your support, and yes, you're the font of all knowledge. Thank you. So, the man behind the scenes, but very much on the scene, and the learning and development, which is going at a pace. So, Kevin, would you like to go forward with your section, please?
Yeah, thanks very much, John. And I'm going to be very quick because we are running into breakout time. So what I want to try and help the district team with is to re-engage with clubs and Rotarians. So wherever we can over the coming year, we will come to you. So the sessions that we had on the restructuring last autumn were very well attended, with 60% of clubs attending. And we want to try and redo that, really. So look out for some sessions in July, which we'll talk about right at the end of this assembly, and pre-PEP sessions next February. And we hope that we will see more people face-to-face during the year.
Thanks, Kevin, because again, you've highlighted another point. One of the consistent themes, which I hope you see is coming through, our genuine wish to work closely with the clubs and add resource, add support, and do whatever we can to move forward collectively. So thanks ever so much, Kevin, for all you do. There's a huge amount behind the scenes, and as I said earlier, he keeps me on my toes, so that's great. Thanks very much, Kevin. So now are there any questions of Kevin?
Can I ask a question, please?
Who's that?
It's me, Anne. Anne Stewart from Penrith.
Hello, Anne.
Hi. Just that I was very disappointed that today was cancelled, actually, but I noticed we've got 46 participants on here today. Does that mean that people were just very late in going to sign up, or are people preferring to do things by Zoom?
I think it's a bit of a mix, Maureen, really.
I'm Anne.
Sorry, and we did try, obviously, to get people to pre-book for the face-to-face session in Lancaster, but we had to make a decision quite reasonably early on to actually cancel that to avoid having to pay. So we had to manage that decision, but it is pleasing that we've got over 25 clubs and 40 odd people here today, so that at least the message is getting out to a number.
People in front. Just to add to that, if I may, Kevin, Kevin and I really wanted to do face-to-face. The cost of going ahead with it was just, we couldn't bear that cost in district. And we had a conversation, and having wanted to do face-to-face, I wasn't sure about doing Zoom for just half a dozen, 8 or 9 people. But we made the decision to stick to today, and we're really pleased that there's been the positive response, and there's 25 clubs represented today. So that's half the district almost. So we're greatly encouraged, and as I said earlier, and I'll say again, we're grateful for your interest and participation. So thank you for that, Anne.
Could I just add to that, please, John? Ron from Furness again. I do prefer personally the Zoom sessions, and I think that, as has been said, there's more clubs here, and I recognise the value of face-to-face. That's absolutely necessary at some stage, but I do think that Zoom is the way forward, both from getting people together as we've done this morning, but saving the environment with the lack of cars going down to Lancaster or wherever. So for me, the future is Zoom.
Well, thank you very much for that, and comments noted. I've just noted before we move on, Ian McTurk, past District Governor Ian, and also editor of Norwest. I know he's somewhere on Hadrian's Wall walking for polio. Are you there, Ian? I'm picking up a hand up. Are you there live? And do you want
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Just in case I lose the signal, because I'm up in Kevin and Wendy's wonderful area of Britain. It's absolutely glorious. Yes, I'm on Hadrian's Wall, walking for polio under the Hexham Rotary banner, but never mind. Just a question raised, I think it was by Ron, when Mary was speaking, elderly people and all that sort of stuff. If Ron wants to get in touch with my club, we entertain 35 elderly residents, some with carers, some with early dementia, 1 or 2 lonely characters, but we bring them together at our meeting point and entertain them with coffee, sandwiches and so on every week. Once a month they have entertainment with a band, music or whatever. And once a quarter, we take them out in minibuses to Blackpool Tower Ballroom, for example, Lytham Hall for tea and so on, the RNLI on the Fylde coast, that sort of thing. So if that's of interest, Richard Walwalk is our call. Sorry for interrupting, John, but I'm going to lose the signal shortly. Have a good day, guys.
Thanks, Ian.
And every best wish to you, and thanks for joining us. I'm really heartened because he's mentioned Lytham Hall, and if the elderly are visiting there, I can go along and join them. Excellent. Right, we're slightly running over time, but it's no bad thing because there's been some really good input there, and thank you for questions so far. So, Kevin, we're through to the
yeah, we're going to have these breakout sessions. So we're going to break out into 5 breakout rooms. Each of you, there will be a facilitator in each room. And the question we're going to pose is what is your club going to do to increase membership? And you'll have about 20 minutes to discuss this in your groups. And we'll still aim to try and finish, by 11:30 or thereabouts, or just after.
Yeah.
So you'll have 20 minutes, and the magic will be undertaken by Malcolm, hopefully. I hope you found that useful. I hope you found the discussions useful. We are going to ask the facilitators for one phrase from each of their sessions. So I'm not sure who was in number one, but facilitator for number one.
That was me, Kevin, Annette.
Yeah.
So we had a long chat about introducing new members, and the philosophy we came up with is softly. Don't invite them to be a Rotarian. Invite them to come to listen to a speaker, and then they will be under no pressure to become a Rotarian. You've invited them to come along, and then hopefully they will see what the club is doing. And if the club is not their best fit, be prepared to introduce them to a sister club which might fit them, rather than just be insular and keep them for yourself, so to speak, and it might fail.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Annette. Yeah, number two.
That's me, Kevin.
Okay.
Despite the acknowledged challenges of membership, then what I was picking up from all the clubs was looking at things like corporate membership, talking to businesses, Chamber of Trade, looking at flexibility of having coffee mornings, breakfast meetings, looking at opportunities for a new organisation which was going to start up in that town, and also a club that was looking internally at what they offer as well. So I think that's important as well, for a club to do that, and an offering from corporate about the flexibility that corporate offers. So quite a lot of things there that came out of that session.
Okay, thank you. John.
Yep, thank you. I'm just busily offering a sincere apology to Patricia Hogarth from Workington. I missed her on the screenshots, but and I will be in touch with her. So apologies, Patricia. A theme that came through. A recurring theme was flexibility. And clubs are already, I was quite heartened to hear that there is a flexible approach that, for instance, Darwin, a cafe in Darwin would have been on this morning, but they're going to do it next week. Preston Guild, they like to break the rules. I fully understand that and support them, because they're a club of 40, they're still gaining members, retaining members. And interestingly, they talked about a group around Preston, which is already in existence. It's very, very informal. And I'm going to have a word with Phil Bridges separately to see what it's about and how we may be able to help in that regard. The recurring theme of flexibility came through from another club, where an open evening, the club has done CPR training, and they've got 2 new members from all of that. Kendal, a traditional club, but they're moving on. They're looking to recruit associates, friends of Rotary, perhaps one meeting a month, but that might be an ideal opportunity for direct members. And Whitehaven, a smaller club, but they're working hard to keep on board those that they have. And a real key point that came out was in getting them to join, not just disparate organisations, be part of Rotary, they get insurance cover. And I think that tends to get overlooked. So some really good themes came out of that, and I'm really grateful to all. And again, Patricia, I apologise for overlooking you.
And Mary.
Hi, we had a very active group that really chatted about all sorts of things. And anybody who was depressed about the future should have been in our group, because it was so enlightening. We talked about direct membership and some of the challenges and opportunities there. Lots of discussion about change and about trying to engage people in different ways through all the opportunities that are out there, corporate and everything else. One of the things that came up was community core. And that was not really understood or managed at all. So maybe that's something which you know, I know it comes under humanities, but something we probably need to promote, because that's the way of engaging people into Rotary, but without all the fees and everything, but also to help them get the insurance cover that we can have. So yeah, lots going on. And the important message I think came out, Armstrong, was every area is different, every town, every village, every area is different. You have to do Rotary to suit your area, your space, in your way, and help it to grow in a natural sort of evolving way.
Thanks, Mary. On the group I was facilitating, there were two things really, I think. The first one was we're quite good at telling people what we've done, but we don't very often tell people what we're going to do. And so in order to get people along to our events or get them to help us out with events, we do need to actually be telling people what we're doing. And we have some great examples from Church and Aussie about something they're going to do in September. The other thing I think that came out strongly was, and we had a number of people from the Fylde on the call, and clubs getting together to work together to share examples of what they're doing together, but also to then say, if our club doesn't fit you, there's another club just up the road that might fit you. And so sharing, being a lot less parochial than perhaps we have been in the past, and working together as a group. And I'll just summarize it with Rotary Without Boundaries. It's just how we manage that going forward. So, John, I'm thinking that we just finish off without the slides showing, but we can talk about what we were going to say on the slides, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, we're aiming to run some membership-focused events in July. The dates will be coming out to you, but they're likely to be Kendal on the 8th of July, Lostock Hall on the 10th of July, and Wigton on the 15th of July. So information will come out, and the idea is the evening events, similar to the ones we did with the restructuring exercise that we did in the autumn. And the idea is that a lot of the issues that you've picked up or talked about today, we can expand on those and work through those to help you with your membership development activities starting in July. We're then looking at, one or two people in my group asked about how do we change attitudes. And we are looking potentially at developing something for that in the autumn, October or November, possibly alongside the district council event. So if there was a face-to-face event on a Saturday for district council, we could run a session after that and help you work through some of those issues that you might be needing to tackle in your clubs. Other things coming along to help you as we go through the year. And I think we just watch this space. For those of you that will be talking to your president for the following year, just to put in the diaries for 14th to the 29th of March 26 will be the multi-district PEPs that GB and I managed this year. And I have to say, having helped out with them, it's well worth trying to make sure that your next year's president gets on that set, because they went down very well. They worked very well. We had a number from our district, but not as many as I would have liked. But we do need to actually try and promote that. And we will be promoting that a little bit further as we go through the year. Over to you, John.
Thank you. Before I carry on, Kevin, one or two questions. I touched on insurance cover, and Maureen Dennis has asked, what is insurance cover? And secondly, how do the inner wheel clubs now fit into Rotary? Could you perhaps comment, Kevin, please?
Well, the insurance cover obviously is the massive insurance cover that we've got through GB&I that you'll have all seen through the governor's information. And it would take too long to go through it now, but the information is on the GB&I website, and your secretary and treasurer in particular should have all that detail. How do Inner Wheel Clubs now fit into Wheel? Well, Inner Wheel is a separate organisation. They have their separate rules, and some clubs still have that link, but it's fewer and fewer. But they obviously are there to support us. Could we have the itinerary for the rest of this assembly? Well, we're nearly finished, Ron, from that point of view, and we will be, as we said, letting you have the slide set as we go through. We're within a couple of minutes of finishing.
Yeah.
And
I'll do the workshop dates, Kevin.
we will issue the workshop dates again, John. We'll send those around to everybody as over the next few weeks. So over to you, John, I think now.
Thank you, Kevin. So a busy morning generated much discussion and valuable feedback. And just to repeat, those 3 road shows in early July, the 8th in Kendal, the 10th in Lostock Hall, and on the 15th in Wigton. So based on the feedback received following the restructuring workshops, they should be an excellent forums for exchanging ideas. And following those workshops, I'll arrange club visits, which will provide a further opportunity to learn how your plans are developing and being implemented, and importantly, explore how the district team can assist. Paul Harris, that great man, said, "Enjoy an enriched life belong to Rotary." I'll leave you with 3 Fs. F for Freddie. Heard in the past from district governors quite rightly about fellowship. Yes, fellowship is very much an enrichment of life, so belong to Rotary. Fun is a natural byproduct of friendship which arises from fellowship. I'll add a 3rd one to that: fulfillment. I think it is so important because fulfillment has a 2-way benefit through service above self, which enhances the life or experience of someone else who may not necessarily be known to us. So those 3 Fs, fellowship, fun, and fulfillment, I'll leave you with. Hopefully we've set a pathway for growth, the building blocks we've explored. Thank you ever so much for the time you've given, your commitment, your input, and let's go forward together and build a stronger district throughout Cumbria and Lancashire. Thank you all. Take care.